Joe Rogan and Shane Gillis did a pod. And in the podcast, Shane Gillis, I think, jokingly refers to Nick Fuentes as the next president. And Joe Rogan, not so jokingly, jumps on the statement as a, great idea. Gillis gives a shocking example as a joke. Rogan takes it completely sincerely and goes on a diatribe about groyperism. And the internet comes away thinking Shane is a Christian nationalist. This is a perfect distillation of Joe Rogan. He fundamentally misunderstands comedic instincts, soapboxes about how he's a victim, and somehow still shapes the narrative via pure R-wordation. He controls reality. Now, I don't know if it's a joke or not, so we'll see. But I did see this clip.
War.
You'd think we'd have more presidents. The Catholics.
Yeah, they only had one.
Biden,
right?
too.
Oh, Biden's Catholic.
We got Biden.
Allegedly.
True. We only got one. They got
Allegedly. Yeah, Biden's not a real Catholic.
shot, and then Biden was doing auto sign. Give us a good one.
Yeah. You got anybody in mind?
Fuentes.
Nick Fuentes? He could probably win in a few years.
Hold on, let's talk.
Listen, he couldn't have existed before, right? 10, 20 years ago, couldn't have existed. Now, super popular. What's 20 years from now look like? Maybe someone like that can win.
Well, we'll see.
Shame for that. Bro, he's like clearly laughing. He's like, yeah, Nick Fuentes, wouldn't that be crazy? And Joe's like, actually, yeah. Like, what do you mean? Shane Gillis brings it up as like, how funny would that be? And then Joe's like, no, actually, that's good. That's actually a good idea. We should do that.
I gotta pee so bad. We gotta wrap this up anyway.
I'm down.
4:18.
We got that one at the buzzer.
Yeah. Well, listen, I will say this about it. It's fascinating.
I like that instead of wrapping it up, he's like, let me talk about it a little bit further, just so people do not mistake my fascination with Nick Fuentes as, me going along with what Shane presented as like a possible threat to American democracy. Let me explain to you how I mean it.
There's like a whole group of people that feel very unrepresented in the world, and especially like young men. And here you got this young guy with a very high verbal IQ. Mm-hmm. And he also does a lot of posting, a lot of talking, a lot of trolling, says women shouldn't be allowed to vote, says wild and that Piers Morgan thing is like, bro, that was like an expert sparring with someone who thought they were an expert.
Sure.
Like they're playing two totally different games.
And it's also the thing that people try to get Fuentes on is that he's still funny as
It's funny.
So that's where you're in a lot of trouble.
When he hits him, do you think you made jokes about the Holocaust? He goes, too soon? Like, dude.
Yeah.
And you could see.
He's wild.
You could see Piers going,
bro, when he was like, me mom died. I was like, holy shit.
Bro, he got hit. He got hit with a missile on that one.
Before people go, oh my God, how are they saying this? For the record, Nick Fuentes is not trolling when he says that. But you have to understand, most people don't have the same social investment that you do towards like being tolerant to marginalized groups. You need to understand this. You need to snap out of your bubble. It's the same with like people who make George Floyd jokes over and over again. I don't think that's funny at all. Okay. I don't think that's funny at all. And yet, according to some of the dumbest right-wingers on the planet, it's all the laughs, okay? It's the most funny thing that they've ever encountered. Bro, stop defending Shane already, come on. There's no defense of Shane Gillis here at all. I'm simply explaining to you what is going on in the world, okay? What is going on in America? A big part of the reason why this is now considered another thing to laugh about is partially because the right wing totally dominated. The right wing totally dominated the whole like, oh, the left is being annoying woke scolds over and over and over again. They nonstop hammered that point over and over and over again, while they were also being annoying woke scolds themselves. But they were able to successfully make this like the left's self-identified movement. And ironically enough, a lot of people on the left did contribute to this because they were like, yeah, no, we are woke scolds actually. And a lot of people on the left also do present this as like their number one issue. Right wingers don't do that. They complain all the time, but then when called into question whether or not they're being woke scolds, they go, oh, how dare you? No, of course not. We're not woke scolds at all. We would never do that. Liberals don't do that. Radlibs, liberals, leftists, we love adopting that framing and adopting that identity. We don't even want to lie about it. At least the right wingers lie about it. They don't give a shit about hypocrisy. They lie about it all the time. Yeah, but you think Charlie Kirk jokes are hilarious, law, which so do I, law, but that kind of ruins the point. Brother, I have never made it seem as though I was in any way, shape, or form playing civility politics. My most famous moment that has been posterized in the last New York mayoral race was saying America deserved 9/11. The are you talking about? For me, what matters a lot more is your worldview, your policies, what you think responsible governance looks like, how we improve people's lives. There's never been a moment where I've been like, oh, wow, we just gotta really reconsider this. But you need to understand, it is a more consistent position on the right, partially for this reason. And a lot of right-wingers don't understand. The ones that still want to go back to the old days of at least leaning into anti-Semitic memes, but not having that affect America's unshakable relationship with Israel, want to basically put the toothpaste back in the tube. They want to do a version of woke, where you can only be woke about Jewish people, but you can be the least woke about everybody else. It's not work. It's just not going to work at all.
Too soon? Too soon was like, oh my God.
The thing is, I'll give you context, right? If Adam Friedland said that because as an anti-Zionist Jew, he went on Piers Morgan, and Adam Friedland was the one who said too soon to someone talking about the Holocaust, everyone would laugh. Everyone in this community would laugh. But because we know Nick Fuentes' background, and because when he says it, he actually means it, right? And he actually is doing this as a point of propaganda to expand the permission structure on what can and can't be said, especially with a more nefarious agenda to tie everything back to some kind of Jewish control conspiracy. Come for Hasan. Please stop dying on the joke hill. You have to learn not to get upset with jokes. You are just making the left less probable to win next election. Wait, what? I'm saying that same thing. I'm saying that context is what matters. People's personal background is what matters. People's ideology is what matters. That's the point I'm making. The reason why when Nick Fuentes says that, even though he has good comedic timing, which is what they're simply talking about here, the reason why it's dangerous when he does that, the reason why it's dangerous to platform Nick Fuentes in general, and now it's a complete lost cause, is because contextually he's doing that for a specific reason, and that reason is to expand the permission structure on cutting out Jews as non-white from the broader American understanding. But that's the point. And for Joe Rogan to go on and be like, yeah, this is actually pretty brave, pretty bold, pretty beautiful, I hate that. The reason why I don't appreciate Joe Rogan's analysis here is because he's taking it sincerely. Shane could have brought it up to be like, haha, isn't that crazy that a Nazi it could run for president? I don't even know how that would work. Wouldn't that be bad? And then Joe's like, yeah, he has great comedic timing, and I think he'd be really dangerous. It's basically just another step in the direction of potentially having Nick Fuentes go on the Joe Rogan experience. Speaking of which, let's see, Joe Rogan. Socially, I'm left on almost everything. If someone comes along to the left that is an objective, sensible person that's making sense on immigration, foreign policy, then I'm still
along from the left that is an objective, sensible person that's making sense of immigration, foreign policy, then I'm still left.
Right.
I'm still the same person.
Me too.
I'm still, because socially I'm left on almost everything. The hard right is to me just like the hard left. Mm-hmm. The crazy that are out there on the fringes, and they sort of define the left and define the right for everybody. You define the right by white supremacists, KKK. You define the left by Antifa.
Right.
Jesus Christ. Most people are right here.
Sure.
Most people are I just want rules and law and everybody be kind and healthy and a prosperous society and no pollution. And I feel like we could all work together and do a better job of all these different things.
But like Jordan Peterson says, who's my favorite human in the world, I love him so much. But he was saying it's really easy to identify and rebuke the far right. We're very good at identifying it and going, I disavow, or whatever the term is. We don't want that. Yeah. But then with the left, the very extreme left, we kind of celebrate it and we post it and we brag about it and we go, look how good I am.
I think they thought we have thugs. I think that it's one of those things. And
I'm against the far left.
It's the bullies. Idiot.
I love motherfuckers who just hit this enlightened centrist route where it's one, where is the far left? Does the far left have a fraction of power? Two, what is the far left? Because if you were to say someone like myself represents the far left, right, as many do on the internet, what are the immediate tangible policy goals that I have that you disagree with? No more senseless military conquest all around the globe. No more imperial domination. Take the revenues that we've generated so far and spend it on Americans to rebuild our infrastructure, to have a government jobs guarantee, a federal jobs program, building unlimited social housing, free healthcare, free college education. Wow, the far left. How terrifying. America is one of the countries on the planet that is actually capable of doing this because we have all the money. And we are the country that stops others from engaging in this kind of endeavor. If you sincerely talk to a person of the far left variety and you dig into their positions, you dig into their immediate solutions to some of these problems, it becomes very stupid because on the far right, it's easy to identify the far right and actually admonish or disagree with the far right because the far right is running on making this a white nationalist country, which revolves around the eradication of non-white people. Whiteness as a concept is already like not very well defined. Is it based on skin color? Is it based on cultural attitudes? Is it based on religion? We don't know. I mean, it's currently being led by, a bunch of non-white people, unironically. So we don't even know fully what that would look like, but let's say it's just about like purging the boundaries of the state from all the Hispanic population or whatever. Like, is that something you agree with? Is that something you identify as an issue personally? Do you agree with that? Why do you agree with that? What kind of problems are the Latino population on U.S. soil creating for Americans in general? What kind of problems is the black population in America creating in general? Are those problems related to the structural hurdles that they must overcome, the structural inequalities such as abject poverty, for example? Is that the reason? Is that the reason why there is crime potentially in these communities? And that is the main point of contention here. When you ask someone like myself, I'm very open about my worldview. I'm very open about what I want to do, what I want to accomplish. And that's perhaps the reason why a lot of these guys have a harder time identifying what the issue is with the far left. Because when people ask those questions and the far left answers those questions, all of a sudden they find themselves in agreement with the far left. These are the type of things that I don't think Joe Rogan would be against, right? So they have to create a bastardized version of what they think the far left actually is, okay? Oh, we have to trans every single person by force, or everyone has to be gay. Everyone has to be woke at gunpoint or something like that. That's it. They think the policies of the far left is Kamala Harris, and they don't even know what Kamala Harris even stands for. So they just believe whatever others have invented is the Kamala Harris policy positions. The moment from my previous comment, Alex tweet, I found this reply to be even more clownish in that community. What is this? H3 fans love Nick Fuentes now. I thought these people are supposedly staunchly against anti-Semitism. I'm an H3 fan, but I enjoy seeing Fuentes' ridiculous takes. They like Nick Fuentes and call him funny. They also support Asmongold, who's been boosting Fuentes for years. They never cared about anti-Semitism. It's always a cynical ploy to defend the indefensible genocide in Gaza. Yeah, I know. These guys don't give a I know. As long as it's not someone that attacks them, it's very, very transactional. I don't think Nick Fuentes has ever talked about Ethan Klein, so he doesn't give a shit. Asmongold does not attack Ethan Klein, so Ethan Klein doesn't give a shit. The moment that they do attack one another, he would care. Much easier to do this when you have no real investment in politics at all, and you just simply look at it like a reality TV show, as many of these guys do. They are also in a much more privileged position than their audiences, so they can actually shelter themselves from the immediate impacts when the political landscape changes for the worse. But their fans, who actually also advance the causes of their favorite content creators, cannot actually shelter themselves from the impact of changing political discourse. That is the major problem. But it's really interesting because like a lot of people will turn around and say, Hasan, you're rich. Hasan, you're this. Hasan, you're that. As they think that this is somehow a point of hypocrisy for the things that I advocate for. They say, I'm far too privileged. I don't give a shit. First of all, Asmongold, Ethan, also rich, richer than I am, really. But what is the expectation here? That you want me to present my politics in a similar vein to them? Is that what it is? Like, because it seems like that's the only difference there is what I'm advocating for. So I guess you would be fine if I was just as wealthy, but then also didn't say that there is a better way out there to fix society. So yeah, that's where we're at with the
Piers
Nick Fuentes
Morgan
stuff.
thing.